Right, penultimate interview on what's the date?
7th of July.
7th of July, Thursday. And we've just finished the final English camp on Koh Yao Noi, and that was good actually. I think that was very satisfying. So we're now back in Khao Lak, fairly relaxing evening, and I'm talking to Sophie on the left and my epic big sister Lizzie on the right. And in this series of interviews, rather than just ask them the same or some of the same questions as I've asked some of the previous interviewees, I thought I'd challenge them on this one to just maybe ponder more that we've done on the teaching and what we've done with the kids of the region. Some thoughts then on having finished the teaching. Do we feel proud of ourselves?
Yes, definitely.
Do we think we as, tell me about you as Sophie and Lizzie. What you've got out of it, what you've changed, confidence, what you've seen in yourselves that you're chuffed with, what others might have done, you think, bloody hell, that was good.
For me, just like literally gaining confidence with it all, because I don't like standing up in front of a group of people and doing any kind of presentations, and learning to kind of be quick at improvising. Because
you don't stick the plans.
Yeah, and
if
a lesson's not working in the way that you want it to, then you change it and make it work. And I don't, if I'd thought about that before I came, I don't think I would have thought I'd be able to do it as well as we have.
No, you have to just lose all inhibitions and totally make a fool of yourself.
Oh yeah, I didn't think I could do that.
The more you make a fool of yourself, the more successful the kids take and actually do want to learn.
Yeah.
But contrast you lot today, where I was sort of saying, right, you've got to shorten that lesson from 50 minutes to half an hour. Contrast that with day one.
Yeah.
Me and you lot just thinking, what is going to happen? You know, I was just looking at the video of us going into the first school, first morning, thinking, and I was thinking, how's this going to go?
Yeah.
And I'm not in front of the kids, you were, but I was
don't think we would have been able to do it.
No.
Genuinely do not think it would have happened.
We would have just been a bit,
we would have just all ran and not
dumbstruck for a while and just stood there staring at the wall, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, the day when we went from teaching one massive group to a group of just a few students.
Yeah.
3. Yeah. We had to change that in a major way because some of the games you have to have a good amount of students to play them. So, and you know, actually both of those classes worked out really well.
I thought I thought the one with the 3 kids looked like it was going fabulous. Did not you in that one, or was that just
No.
We passed on our 3 children.
Yeah. But yeah, getting back to you and just seeing your confidence grow, Lizzie. I mean, when did I see you? I think it was this last camp. You know, just going up to the kids that maybe aren't responding and
learning how to do things like that, because obviously I've not done any teaching really before, and just looking out for the ones who either aren't getting it as well or messing around, and you know, not doing anything, I don't know, mean or to highlight them in particular, but going around and asking a few people, including them, just to check that they are paying attention, they are involved in what's happening.
It's hard.
Makes a difference.
Yeah, it's hard not to conventionally shout at a kid. Where at home you would expect to be sent out of the class, or you would be actually told off, where you just can't do that because you get nowhere. You just get laughed at, and the whole of the class laughs and just puts their head down, and nothing goes on from that. So from about the 3rd lesson we found that wasn't going to happen.
No.
So you had to adapt to their way, or it wasn't going to work at all. I think that's one hard thing to do.
And adapting to the fact that most of the classes are taught, almost outside, and so there's no walls. Whereas in an English classroom, they can't just run off and you know, out of the class without you knowing what's going on.
No, that's right.
The wandering children
trying to
stressed me out the first day.
Yeah.
They could have went anywhere.
Yeah.
No one even seemed bothered.
No.
It was like yesterday, the man who was hanging, there was this man hanging like perched like this behind some bin bags for about 20 minutes, and I noticed him halfway through and I was like, what is he doing? I don't like this. If this was at home, you would have been, everyone would have went mental. But he was just sitting there and he was there for a good 20 minutes. So I was really staring at him and he just wasn't doing anything. And then I turned round and he ran, grabbed a kid, give it something, ran off, got on his motorbike and sped off. And I was like, oh my god, this child, it's going to explode, what is happening? And then I told the teacher and he just laughed. He was like, yeah. And I was like, no, this isn't right. That man just came and touched a child and ran. And he was like...
Was that sin?
Yeah, he was like, he must have wanted something. And I was like,
well, again, it's a different thing in the culture, isn't it? But
definitely. It's very, very trusting.
Yeah.
Very
But
trusting.
can you remember any significant changes at the end of, say, session, you know, the first teaching session, first school? Because I thought, bloody hell, I don't know what works with the kids, don't know the pace, don't know what they understand as a baseline level. There was so many unknowns.
I think first school was a lot cleverer and seemed to have a lot more expectation than any of the other schools.
Yeah.
It seems so long ago now.
I know.
I think one thing I realised, I thought you had to be kind of more serious when you were doing the teaching. I realised that the more upbeat and not, you can't like completely mess around because they've got to know that you're the teacher and that you're in a position of authority, but the more that you make it fun for them, the more they learn, you know, whereas before I thought, because I think that's a bit more how things are done in England, isn't it? It's a bit more serious and a bit more straight down the line, and it is a bit different because it's an English camp and it's away from their normal lessons, so it probably is a bit more fun than their normal lessons, but I think that was something that I really got like towards the end of the first day, which I hadn't really thought about before.
When you were set, I thought that it says don't touch their heads,
Yeah.
hair has to be tied back neatly, teachers are very respected, seen quite highly, and I thought my expectations was that it would be a lot more formal than it actually was.
Yeah, me too.
I felt you got more out of rolling around the floor, like showing them things, sticking like the body one, like the head on their forehead, ear. The kids were engaged and they were going head, ear, where if you couldn't do that in a formal situation.
No, and I think I think in some ways credit to some of the material, because it's easily adaptable to get them to do stuff. I saw in one classroom just pictures on the wall and you thought, God, that looks a bit dull. You know, at least you were getting them to...
The right left one.
Yeah.
You could not have taught a class right left with arrows, any pictures.
No.
You had to physically just march them up and down and die in the heat.
Yeah, I know.
But they absolutely loved
I know,
those.
it was
I've never seen so many kids laugh.
It was good, wasn't it? I mean, it was. Credit to... In some ways, the first day was really impressive for me, just because of the huge question mark on the way.
I think
what is this
everyone,
going to be?
even the people that weren't teachers, I think it was harder for the teachers.
Possibly.
Because imagine being used to all the formalities of English
They
teaching
know
and then
the
just
kind of rules, but
Yeah, you had some. The teachers had something to compare to, or they'd done something in a way that they knew worked, whereas non-teachers had nothing to go on.
Yeah.
So.
I think I think like, I definitely felt I had no idea really how. Although we'd done the lesson plan, you could see a bit more how we would teach it. You still, until you'd done that first lesson, didn't really understand quite how it would go down, how you would yourself behave in it. Like I didn't realise it could be that outgoing and loud and silly and, well, I know it can be silly, but
I don't think you learn until you've had a disaster lesson.
Did you have one?
first one was fine. It was plain sailing.
The first one,
the first day, because we stick to the lesson plan. There was only three of us that time, and then it was when Tom was ill, and then he came back, and we split off again because we weren't allowed to. And then mine and Tom's just went disaster. So we just didn't know what to do. So we were nervously laughing, and the kids were just improvising. The kids were being so much better than when we were actually doing it properly. So you just thought, you just have to do whatever.
We had a class like that in the first school where they did seem more welcoming to us, and they did seem more, I don't know, intelligent with their English. You know, they seemed to know a bit more, but they, to me, did seem like the naughtiest group. Like, the kids were so hyper, and so, like, one group in particular, I think it was the same for everyone, the same group, were just quite young and really, really hyper and all like running around.
They've been hyped up for it. They've been told, you've got an English camp, you've got an English camp, it's going to be good.
And then, so like there was, I remember thinking at one point, like, what do we do? I'm going to have to completely shut this down. And then all of a sudden we just managed to get it back somehow by, you know, like by getting them all engaged.
Yeah.
And then it was amazing. You just felt,
what were you stressing about?
Yeah, but you were just really proud, and it's such a satisfying feeling. I can really understand why people do teaching now, whereas I didn't think I could before.
Did you see anything, slightly tricky question, and you don't have to name names, did you see anything where you thought, bloody hell, that was good, I didn't expect X to be like that, or do that, or that was pretty great? You see anything like that, or do you only see it in yourselves because you're fabulous?
There's a couple of people who I thought were, you know, maybe the quietest people in the group, and then although they are, you know, still not the loudest when they're teaching, but they do it in such a way that they don't necessarily need to be as loud as some other people, and like just have a really good way of.
They're scared of the loud people.
Just have a really good way of dealing with the kids who aren't listening, dealing with the people who just need to be engaged a bit more, you know, and they're just downright naughty kids.
It's quite good to see the contrast of how a really loud person deals with it, and then a person, I thought I was quite loud to start with, and I thought I'll be the one that's loud, but it totally flipped. And when the kids were there, I was confident, but I wasn't as loud as I thought I would be when you're put with a total dimension of different characters. And I think you watch like the quieter ones who get through a lot more than the person that's like, come on, come on, come on. You see them, and that actually the kid goes away and can speak a sentence of English.
They've taken it on board.
I think that's why it's good being in different groups, because you've got to work with people who do things the quieter way, got to work with people who do things the louder way, and
that was one of the best things to do.
Swap
round.
Well,
because like it's not necessarily.
You can imagine, you think, oh, that's going to be a bit unpopular once they've.
I thought that first lesson, after the third day, we were like, right, perfect, I like this, I can do it, confident in it, and then you change in the groups, and I was like, no, it's like, no, please don't, I don't like change. I think it's because everything else changes so much. That one thing, you're like, it's your safety blanket, and then it's been the best thing, but it's hard to come out of it.
It is hard, because like for my second group, I thought we just worked so well together. We really, you know, like the first group was good, but second group was even better, and then wasn't sure how the third group was going to go, but then actually we pulled out the bag brilliantly as well. Like we've had 2 amazing days of teaching, and one day that was good, but just because of the topic wasn't as great.
It's strange how a topic can make inflated or deflated. Like you can start like, yes, come on, or you just like, but by the end of the day you're like, yeah, I've done that.
I think it was just when the topics were things that the students knew already, which is fine because you had the challenge of, you know, expanding on it, which was good. It was just the one where there was a game that just didn't make a lot of sense and caused chaos because the kids are all talking at the same time. They're all everywhere. The restaurant game.
It just seemed pointless.
I thought when you were doing that, didn't you do that in the first school?
We did it, yeah, I did it in first school.
Well, I thought that was good at the end, wasn't it?
No, chaos. I mean, we tried to adapt it every time and change it, but anyway, you did it really, and today as well, when we did it, we adapted it and changed it. In the first lesson, we did it where we had, I've done it three different ways. One of them was where you have them in a group of three, one person's the waiter, the other people are the customers, and the waiter asks them, they order, and the waiter goes and gets these little cards with the different foods on, come back, and we mark whether they've got them correct or not. Now, when you do that in little groups of threes, there's not enough teachers to make sure that they're not just telling each other in Thai.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and then everyone's talking, everyone's running around, everyone's running to the table to get stuff, so that's chaos. Then we tried another way today, another way on the first school where we had three bigger groups with one teacher in each. And that was just a bit slow and didn't have everyone being engaged at the same time, so that wasn't too great either. And then today we tried another way, where we had them in two lines, and the first two people stood up, one was the waiter, one was the customer. And then they did it in front of the class so we could make sure they were speaking in English and not in Thai. And then the others just got so bored at the back that they were chatting and running around. And then so we tried to speed that up, and that was a chaotic one. But we, like I say, we changed it and improved each time. And then did other games as well. So we only did the restaurant game bit for a shorter time and did another game that we've been playing that works really well.
I mean, most people have said just how, and I found it incredible just how much the Thai kids appear to enjoy the games, don't they?
Oh yeah.
This morning, we were doing something, we were like, game please, please game.
Yeah.
I was like, wait 1 minute, we'll let you know what the words first. We're like, game please, game.
Yeah.
Alright, thanks for all of this. Final comments if you would. Then there might be some people listening to you on this video that are considering coming next year. Try and put them off.
I don't think I could.
It is the hardest, most challenging thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
That literally does make you want to crawl under a rock. But then things like that, what do you call it? Shoveling that mud. I've never ever sweated from there to my toe, but it was the best feeling.
Go on, just put that into context. Shoveling mud. Why were you shoveling mud? Yeah.
Making a what do you call it? Vegetable plantation thing in Home and Life, which is the best place in the world.
That's the orphanage, yeah.
And that was the hardest but best thing ever.
That was good. It was great with everybody pulling together, wasn't it? I mean, just seeing it all.
I've never known how much a kid can carry soil. I could carry it.
Yeah, we were struggling.
It was all happening so fast that was good. I mean, that was a brilliant day, wasn't it?
It was the best day I've ever done.
Really exceptional day.
Definitely. But be prepared if it's not holiday.
Yeah.
And if you could, I feel like tomorrow is the first day of my holiday.
Yeah.
Where this has been the amazingest thing. We've lived in Squalor, the actual city of Squalor on the sea.
Yeah.
We've lived in actual titleless homes.
Yeah.
Even what was that island called? An island that took an hour and a half to go from one side to the other.
Yeah.
Which one are you on about?
That's yesterday.
Koh Yao Noi.
And wake up for that sunset this morning.
Yeah.
Like that was the best thing. To do how much we've done in the amount of time. I don't think you could ever do that in holiday. I think what Leeds Met offer through Goy and the crazy little happy lady Laura is the best thing to see in actual country. I feel like I have seen Thailand.
Yeah,
I've seen
so many different aspects of Thai life. We've seen really, really deprived areas like Bantam Chong and really small community that is, and then crazy tourist places like PP to kind of places like Khao Lak that are busy and sometimes and dead at others, so where they need a bit more balance with their income, and then just like Koh Yanoi, which was the most relaxed place ever.
Don't you feel like you know like a secret?
Yeah.
Compared to what the people who were on the beach island know.
Yeah.
Like you actually do.
This is our home. They can't do that.
Yeah. It's just like a secret place. Yeah. Like you would never. What was that rice we ate? The slime on the top.
The sticky rice.
You have to do it when in Thailand.
No, you've got to.
You
haven't
have
you?
to.
That is right. Some people haven't, but I think you've got to. And I
haven't even been ill, and I've tried it. Touch wood. Got Bangkok tomorrow.
Right, thanks very much for that, team. That was really good. Thank you.